everybody, Juli D'Ascendis here again. I just want to introduce the first in our video series, Listen Up, Church Finance. And I want to thank you for giving us a look. We're hoping that these video series will give you a deeper understanding of some important areas of church finances. And this understanding will be in a way that honors God and also helps your church as you continue to grow in your ministry. So today I'm speaking with my good friend Evelyn Burns, who's the finance director and bookkeeper at the Kingsway Assemblies of God in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And Evelyn has agreed to chat with us today about some basic communication between pastor staff and bookkeepers. So Evelyn, I just want to welcome you today and thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Great. It's great to have you here. So let's start out by just talking a little bit about you. Can you tell us a little bit about your background with Kingsway and your involvement there in their finances?
Okay, sure. I've been on the Kingsway staff for about 15 years now, and 13 of it is with finance. And my role is to do all the accounting functions of a finance department. In the finance department, I manage funds coming in and out. I manage all the transactions. I manage funds for actually now we have 4 campuses. And also we have a Kingsway Leadership School. We are a site for the Southeastern University. So, basically all the accounting functions, that's my role, my main role there. So.
Wow, that's really great.
Yeah.
Kingsway is one of our churches, and I know you've been there for a long time. You and I have known each other for quite a while.
Correct.
And I remember the days when Kingsway was, a lot smaller than it is now. So you've really had the opportunity to be in an environment where you start off small and you grow to the point now where you're even 4 campuses and you have a school.
Correct.
That's partly affiliated with our Southeastern Assembly of God University.
Correct.
So that's just really great.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I so appreciate about your ministry really is that you've kind of seen it all. You've been through the growth process, and that just really gives you a great perspective. So one of the things that I notice as I travel around is that a lot of times there seems to be some confusion and difficulty with communication between pastors and their bookkeeping or accounting staff. So from your perspective, Evelyn, can you give us some idea of what you think might be a good way to approach that communication between pastor and bookkeeper?
Okay, sure. So the first thing I feel that it's really important for pastors to understand and feel comfortable with the financial data, financial status of their church.
Right.
They should meet with their bookkeeper every week, 15 to 30 minutes. And in this meeting, the bookkeeper can actually go over all the financial information, the data, the status of the church and things like that, and make the pastor feel more comfortable in reviewing that information and understanding it in those meetings. So it's important for pastors to really know the financial status of their church.
Right, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, because a lot of what we hear from our pastors is that they just really feel challenged, either with feeling like maybe they don't have enough time, or maybe feeling a little intimidated, by the financial nature of the financial statements. A lot of times they're not really sure what it is that they're looking at. Right. And the other thing too that complicates it, sort of, I guess in a good way, is when a church is blessed with a really good bookkeeper, like Kingsway's blessed with a really great bookkeeper, that sometimes they just rely on you. So they think, well, okay, I have Evelyn, so I really don't need to get involved. But in reality, that's really a mistake on the part of the pastors to not really take the time and the effort to sit down and meet regularly with their bookkeeper. And one of the things that I'd be real interested in hearing from you, Evelyn, is during those meetings, what would be some of the questions that you would like to hear from your pastor?
Correct. Okay, so in these meetings, I just think it's a great opportunity for pastors to just connect with their bookkeepers in a more deeper level.
Right.
And some of the questions, a great question would be more or less, were you able to get all the information that you needed to do your job? Were there any challenges that came up in trying to get your job done? And finally, and most importantly, is are there any barriers or challenges that I can help you with? What can I do to remove those barriers or those challenges? And I just feel that, questions like that, it just makes the bookkeeper feel valued, but not only that, it's supported. Because if you're running into challenges that are the same every week, at that point in time, it's a great opportunity to start implementing policies or procedures or something, so that you don't avoid those, challenges. And it's great to have the pastor support you in that.
Right. So basically what I hear you saying is that even as important as understanding the line items on the financial statement, it's equally important for the pastor to have an understanding of what's going on behind the scenes.
Correct.
So on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis, you as a bookkeeper may be facing, challenges. Maybe somebody didn't provide proper documentation, or they asked you to do something that you knew was kind of outside of the policy of the church. And the pastor really ultimately has the authority and the responsibility over the church finances. So I think it's really a really great way for the pastor and the bookkeeper to kind of just get together and just talk these things through.
Correct.
Going back and forth and helping each other. And your point about support from the pastor is so important, because bookkeepers sometimes, I'm not going to say that we're the overlooked, but a lot of what we do is behind the scenes, and
Correct.
Sometimes we just need to feel like we're part of the team and that we're being appreciated. So that's really important for all you pastors out there to know. You need to honor your bookkeepers a little bit, and give them some time off or something, right? Throw them something. So Evelyn, I'm wondering if we could just kind of shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit more about communication with other important people in the church, like maybe the board members or other church staff. How do you see that communication?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. One, when the board meets, in board meetings, there's always some type of financial decisions that are being made.
Sure. That's part of their role, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so it is so important to communicate to the bookkeeper whatever financial decisions that are made, so that the bookkeeper can actually do whatever research that needs to be done in order to accomplish whatever it is that the board meeting's decision was. But one of the great things is that is if a bookkeeper can actually attend the board meeting.
There you go.
And so, because a lot of times when they're reviewing, especially the financial data, there's questions that come up that if the bookkeeper were there, they can answer the question, and the board could be, oh yeah, I forgot, we did approve that, or yeah, we remember this was coming down, and a big event that came up, that's why the numbers are so high. So we can actually answer a lot of these questions right there at the board meeting. So it would be great if they could attend. It would be awesome.
Right. Yeah, that's really good. And I just want to say too, from one of the things that I have always recommended to pastors and to boards when I do board training is that they do include their bookkeeping staff in those meetings. And the way they could do it is they could actually structure their agenda so that they do the finances very first thing. Mm-hmm. So the bookkeeper comes in, everybody sits down, you go over the line items on the financial statements, you answer any questions that they have, you talk about anything, implementation of anything that needs to get done. And then next on the agenda would be anything that is going to impact you going forward.
Correct.
So they talk about, if they're going to buy a vehicle, or if they're going to, take a trip to Israel, or if they're going to introduce something new that you're going to have to deal with the money.
Correct.
And then they can excuse you and they can go on with their meeting.
Correct.
So I really feel like that in itself would establish a very strong communication link between the bookkeeping and accounting staff, and not just the pastors, but the board and other people that are involved in management of the church.
Correct.
So I really feel like that is would just really be a great idea.
Yes.
And there's something else too that I know comes up, and I know you and I have talked about this many times in the past, because it seems to come up a lot. Is how would you encourage a pastor who gets approached by somebody on Sunday, or maybe during a life group or Bible study or something, and the person comes up to the pastor and they have a financial need, or they know someone that has a financial need. How would you encourage your pastor to address those scenarios?
Yeah. So my recommendation would be that the pastors not make any promises or commitments right there in that conversation. If anything, they can say, call in our finance department and let her know what's going on and what your request is, or even send an email so that we can do the proper work and behind the scenes to figure out, okay, what is it that they're really asking, and making sure that we are in compliance with policies or any rules and regulations, because we need to do our work just to minimize any risks and putting the pastor or the church in any risks. So
Right,
it's
right.
important that no commitments are made right in that conversation, so just to send an email or a call on Monday morning, let us discuss it a little bit more.
Right, exactly. So I think, if I hear you correctly, I think the key here is for the pastor to really understand and be comfortable that they don't have to make a decision in the moment, and they can actually use their bookkeeper as a buffer. A lot of times I say to people, don't be afraid to say to them, you know what, I need to check with Julie first.
Correct.
Just because your experience and pretty much everybody in the church knows who you are. So the pastor could just easily say, you know what, let's just wait till Monday. Let's check with Evelyn, and we'll see if we can help you out. Because the pastors, of course, they want to help people.
Correct.
That's why they're here. But a lot of times, if they make a decision in the moment before they consult with their bookkeeping staff, they can actually make a mistake that could end up causing problems down the road.
Correct.
So that's a really important communication tool that I think our pastors would need to know that, and I appreciate that perspective. So Evelyn, I just really want to thank you for coming in and chatting with me today. It's really been great spending time with you. And for those of you that are watching this video, again, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, because we're going to see more of Evelyn. We're going to go on the road to Kingsway Church, and Evelyn is going to sit down with her executive pastor, Arlena Corzine, and they're going to really kind of dive a little bit deeper into some of these issues. So Evelyn, thanks again. We just love you so much, and we love Kingsway, and I just want to thank you and just say God bless, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and God bless you.